Adnam, hello.
Hello.
Adnam.
Hi, who's
Hello.
here? Good morning, good morning.
Good
Or
morning.
noon, or whatever it is here.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Who's here?
Saturdas.
Who was that?
Saturdas.
Oh. I couldn't hardly hear you. It sounds like a big echo. Is it Huddy Das?
No, Saturdas.
Well, welcome, dear. Welcome. Who else is here?
Huddy Munder.
Harinder.
Hi, Huddy Munder. And who else?
Palam Dion is here, and I actually arrived in the United States today. Yay!
Oh, congratulations.
Thank
Welcome,
you. I'm
dear.
here at friend's house in New Jersey.
You're in New Jersey?
I'm visiting for a few days in New Jersey, yes.
Oh, welcome. Welcome. Huddy Ender's territory. Who else is here?
It's better to tell her, yeah. Harinder, Ainamander.
Hi, Huddy Ender. And who else did you say? Oh.
Hargo Ben.
Hi, Hargo Ben. Glad
Thanks,
to have
Siri
you.
Gian.
Who else is here?
Rahmani and Tomas.
Sadanam. And who?
Rahmani and Tomas.
Rahmani and Tomas. Welcome. Welcome.
I think I heard Davy Kieran in there, too.
I beg your pardon?
I said I thought I heard Davy Kieran in there, too.
David Kieran, are you here? Okay.
Guess not.
I am always surprised when she shows up. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in Sweden. So God bless her.
Oh, no, it's 6 in the evening.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're 6 hours ahead of the East Coast.
Oh, okay. It's the evening classes. It's 2 in the morning. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Sure.
Okay, so who else is here?
Sadako, hello.
Oh, hi, sweetie. How are you?
Good.
Good. I'm so happy.
Me too.
Good. Did everybody see Sadanam's, how can I say, her article in the newsletter? That was fun. I enjoyed it.
No.
Did too. And who else is here? I'm sorry, I think you're saying something, but we can't quite hear it. It sounds like you're on a speakerphone or something far away. Okay, I hope we can understand you. And who else is here?
Carol.
Carol from Juneau?
Carol from Juneau. Hello.
Welcome, dear. Welcome. Okay, we certainly enjoyed having Lucinda last week, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
Honey Munder, do you know how it's all going for her now?
No, I haven't talked to her since last week.
Okay. Okay. So now, let's all tune in. Oh, there's somebody who just came on. Satnam, who just came on? Okay, so let's tune in. Let's tune in. Palms together at the center of the chest. Relaxing in the brow point. Relaxing in the brow point. Fully and completely. And understand what you're doing here. You're really uniting with the infinite, calling on the golden chain, being in their presence. Baba Siri Chand says he loves this part. So let's do it consciously. Okay? breathe. And inhale. Long deep breath. Long deep breath. From the belly through the nose. And now on the exhale, feel as though the exhale is coming out of your heart center in the middle of your chest. Good. Really feel yourself just opening. Beautiful, kind. Good. And now please send your heart breath to everybody in the circle, whether you're on the line or whether you're listening to a recording. Please include all in this heart breath. What a beauty. Feel the connection. Because you know our golden chain teachers is right here, melting with every one of us. And more. Okay, and now please send your heart breath to this very big political change that's happening here on Earth. Baba Siri Chand says the rumblings. He says the rumblings are very deep, like a very deep earthquake right now. He says we are only seeing the superficiality of it. Keep opening. Good. Good. And inhale and exhale. And Baba Siri Chand says, please allow your blessedness to spread across the earth. Allow your blessedness to spread across the earth. He says in order to do that, the first thing you have to do is you have to accept your own blessedness. He says he knows. He says after all of your being berated for so many centuries, and when he says centuries, he means lifetimes. When you have been berated for being human, for being a sinner, for being not enough, not perfect, feeling less than a toad, he says he understands that you may have some deep reluctance to feel your own blessing or the blessing of who you are and the capacity that runs through you. He says, now, my dear precious ones, he says, please use your heart breath. He says, and deeply forgive yourself for being human. Oh, my God. Forgive yourself for being human. He says he will get into it more later, but he wants you to use your breath now and forgive yourself for being human and for having any perception. He starts with that you are less than, quote, normal, or that you are less than beatific. He says, not one of you is less than beatific. He says, get with the program. Forgive yourself for any such belief. He says that belief can only be annihilated by, he says that old limiting belief can be only be not annihilated by complete forgiveness, pure openness, and absolute humility. He says now the humility that you have been taught to bargain for is a humility to concepts, ideas, institutions, and so on. He says that doesn't do it. He says that's kind of the heart of your problem, you know. He says, please let that humility to those institutions, to those controllers of virtue, he calls them. He says, please let that drop. Let it drop like a mirage. He says, do you hear it tinkling like broken glass? He says, let those old ideas drop. Right. He says, and now go directly to your own presence, devoid of personality. Well, the personality will always be coloring it, he says, but go straight to your essence. Straight to your essence, straight to your soul, straight to the truth of who you are, your own Satnam, knowledge of the truth of your own being. He says, be there, be present, be present, be present here now. He says you are the God, the totality here on earth. This, my dears, this is what you use your humility for. You use your humility, your very divine right of humility, to be open to this presence. Not to be above it, below it, or to push it on others, but simply to be present. Present. Allow this presence to be your presence. Breathe with that. Know that. He says, you don't understand how precious you are as this divine source projecting as this perfect you. He says, yes, I know. Everyone has their picadillos. Everybody has done crazy, awful stuff. Everybody has done crazy, wonderful stuff. He said, it's all the play. All the play. Keep up the breath. I'm just going to do a muting here. Hold on. Feel the flow of your breath. Feel the flow of your breath. He says this breath is a precious flow of life that is your life, that is the life of the totality. He says, wouldn't you bow down flat on your face to be that beautiful presence, to be that beautiful knowledge? He says, this is who you are, my sweet one. He says, this is where total humility gains you entrance. Gains you entrance to the sacredness of the presence that exerts itself, that expresses itself as you. Know who you are. Know who you are. This presence is a quality. It expresses itself as a quality. He says, but it is the pure qualitative and quantitative essence of reality. He says, if you project this reality through the presence, through your humility to the presence that you are, he says, then you gain absolute safety. He says it doesn't matter if the body drops away from you, even. But you, in the right of your reality on here on earth, this is who you are. He says, have no ambivalence about this. None whatsoever. He says, just drop it. Lose it on the side of the road. When you gain your exuberance, when you gain your precious eyesight of the divine, when you hold the quality of knowing, of being, of freedom, of pure freedom, which is pure expansion, he says, then you recognize this presence. He says, otherwise, he says, doesn't it feel like a dungeon? Doesn't it feel like you have to judge everything, that you have to keep everything under control, that you have to produce, that you have to be this, you have to do that? He says you get lost in the duties of life. He says he's not asking you to simply forget and wipe away the duties of life. He is saying, please infuse these duties of life with his presence of who you are. He says, lighten your load. He says, why do you like to carry such a heavy burden? Lighten your load. Be in the freedom. He says, but when you are in that freedom, understand that you do not remain under the pressure of those duties of life, but rather, he says that you evaporate them to a higher frequency. so that they are not squashing you. He says that's the first step. You evaporate them to a high frequency. Next step, he says, now get ready for this, he says, because when you flow, he says, flow from the verb or the vitality or the essence of your true self, he says you never know what's going to happen. He says it might scare the bejeebers out of you because you are interested in, you are regulated by these duties of life. He says they act sort of like a container for you. And container, no matter how difficult, how prickly, how squashy it might be, he says it's still a container. He says, but when you go to this true level, he says it is so vast that it feels like you no longer have a container. And that is scary. It's like jumping off a cliff. He says, it is in free flow. He says, but in fact it is not free flow as you would think. It is not in chaos. It is what you do is you jump into the perfect order. You jump into the perfect order that mends chaos. He says when you stay oppressed, suppressed by the rules of daily life, he says that is chaos. He says it may feel like order. It does have a certain order on a certain level. He says, but when you jump into free forgiveness of all, he says, that is when the true mending happens. That is when the true, what you might call healing happens. That is when the true rigor of the day is the order of the total infinite, the qualities of all life. He says, that is you. That is who you are. He says, that is the grandness that is being projected as you. So therefore, in your duties of daily life, if you stay in this space of the pure divine, he says, you may look apparently the same. He says you may shine more. He says you may dance and laugh more. He says you may not keep your emotions hidden. He says you might feel more alive. He says if a negativity approaches you, you are less likely to burden yourself with it. He says you are less likely to put up with it. You are more likely to put a stop to it in the moment, even though it may not fit into what you call the daily order. He says you may find that your routine is totally busted up. Oh my God. Can you imagine if your routine is totally busted up? He says you may be asked to suddenly go commune with Mother Nature. You may be asked to suddenly go jump in the swimming pool out of nowhere. Oh my God, in the middle of the day. Can you imagine? He says you may find yourself being pulled into the expression of deep love. Simply love. Love of yourself, love of humanity, love for the love of it. He says try that now. Allow yourself to sink into beautiful, unquestioning, simply pure love. Love that has no object. There is no giver, there is no receiver. It is simply the condition of pure love. Use your breath, please. That's it. flow in that pure love. He says, why would you fight this? Be present. Be present. Let your love flow. Let the very essence of the universe, let it flow. He says, this is what it means. This is what it means to disrupt your daily duties. He says you can fool your everyday self if you like by saying, oh, everyday self, this is really my duty, to listen to soul, to be in this presence, to be as this presence. You can do that. In fact, it is absolutely pure freedom. He says, haven't you all yearned for pure freedom? He says, when you live this path, this purity, this knowing, that is pure freedom. Pure, heartfelt, open-natured, pure freedom. Feel the expansiveness. Feel the expansiveness. Allow your preciousness to flow. Allow your preciousness to flow. He says, now, do you know you have a heart? He says, please wear that heart. Please be that heart. Good. Heart breath. Heart breath. He says, now do you know who you are? He says, yes, I know. It takes a lot of releasing of conditioning. He says he knows that. So we just do this. We just practice this. We do it over and over. He says we switch our habits around. He says humans are such creatures of habit. He says we are changing our habit to be that of openness, total freedom. He says on this path, with his golden chain of teachers, we do not get knocked up the side of the head and suddenly realize ourselves as pure light. He says there are paths that do that. He says, but it takes those people years of disorientation, of not being able to do their daily duties. He says we don't do that on this path. On this path, it is one of pure, deep, but gradual change so that you may grow into the quality of who you are. So being on this path, he says, don't worry about a thing. You're taken care of. He says, you know, your dear Yogi Bhajan would always tell you, keep up and you will be kept up. He said, this is what he's talking about. He says, you clean, you open your vessel of your life. That is your awareness, your knowing, your very breath, your habits, your outlook. He says all of those are rewoven bit by bit by bit, layer by layer, so that they may be rewoven with the greater light of your life, the pure presence of your ability to be the true you, As you grow in this ability to be the true you, you understand that all are the true one, the true us. We are. We are this oneness. We are, he says, we are this contact to divinity. We are the divinity. He says, it is a pleasure of kindness. Pleasure of kindness that you may say that we grow into. You may think of a craftsman, crafting a vessel, polishing it, loving it, caring for it, sculpting it. He says, this is your work. This is your true work. He says, I know you have to do your bookkeeping, you have to do your cleaning and polishing, you have to do your typewriting. He says, I know you have to do this. He says, but the pure work is the craftsman, the craftsperson of your own soul. He says, remarking on polishing, allowing the creative flow to come through. He says, testing it, moving it, amalgamating it in alchemical ways until you come to the pure essence. As the artist knows, there is a pure essence in creation, in creating, in creativity. There is a nugget, a place of absolute expansion and knowing. This is what you're doing with yourself. To realize the purity, the grandness that is you. And you fashion it with pure awareness in the pot of pure humility. Awareness, humility. This is what gives you the essence. This is who you understand yourself to be. You're understanding yourself now as this beautiful presence. Understanding, knowing, being. Pure, pure, pure. And allowing yourself to take in what you may have called the grace. Grace, but it is it's like pure fresh air, pure fresh divinity, pure fresh water to totally nourish every bit of you, every cell of you, every bit of your imagination, every color of your aura. He says, this is your pure infinity expressing itself here. He says, what magic? He says, you look for magic of the spirit. He says, the spirit looks for the magic of living in this life. The spirit looks for the magic of your life, living here with all experiences. No matter how terrible they may seem, no matter how fond or wonderful they may seem, it is your spirit that tracks down every event, every quality, every experience. And it is the blessing, he says, the blessing that saves you. The blessing to be able to look up, to look in, to look out. To see and feel and know and hold and express the truth. The truth, the pure power of the truth. He says, now deeply do heart breath. and feel that pure power of truth. Pure power of truth. He says, as you do this, feel some area in your life, some area in your body that feels like it's a little stuck, a little tightened up, a little short-sighted. He says, and now allow this pure preciousness, this gift of truth, of flowing divinity, of grace. Let it flow into that stuck part. Let it be nourished. Let it be loved. Let it open to the greatness, the blessing, the humility, the pure presence of the here and now. Let it be open to it. Let it flow. Let it flow and be open. Let it flow and be open. Good. Good. And feel the result. He says, and now, dear ones, this is the time. He says, please take note of what you have understood, what you have felt, what you have realized. He says you may have realized again what you have realized. He calls it over the torrents of time. He says, but it's always good to allow it to flow again, to be in your presence again. Okay, so now, please share. But right now, you need to press *6 in order to. Please press *6. Are people leaving us? Oh my goodness. I'll tell you what, I'm just going to open it up so that we hear everybody. Hold on. Okay, so who can share? Who can share? Okay, I think I'm going to go back to muting the whole group because there are little children in the background. And I wish I could. So hold on. Okay, now please share. And you do that by pressing *6 to allow yourself to be heard because we want to hear you. Who can share?
Siri Gian?
Yes, Rahmane.
Yes, hi. Because I'm following the Hebrew path primarily, this is paralleling what's happening right now in the Hebrew calendar, which is that we just passed through Rosh Hashanah, the new year, and it's all about re-identifying with our true self. And then
wonderful.
spending the 10 days between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur to kind of clean up our life, clean up our thinking, our patterns from the past year, from past generations, so that by the time Yom Kippur comes, the year is being informed by this fresh alignment with our soul.
Mm-hmm.
And in the traditional languaging at Rosh Hashanah, one re-enthrones the king, God. And in the group that we had, we were talking about re-articulating that in a way that's more appealing in today's world. And what we came to was repositioning our soul in the position of the guiding royalty, the one that we trust, and the one that guides us, and the one that cares for us, that covers us. Yeah.
So in this, do you know yourself as God?
Yes, that's the Aquarian way of understanding it. That, I think it's a more of the Piscean pattern, the dualistic way, which turned so many of us away from traditional religion, where we were down here and God was up there. And there are times where I come in at that level, but through the process of the prayers, we're being asked to recognize within ourselves all the qualities that we project onto a merciful, loving, compassionate, forgiving God, and become that for ourselves and for each other and in the world.
Mm-hmm. Become the real expansion. Mm-hmm.
Because what?
Without limits.
Yes.
Good.
Yes. And part of it is letting go, as you were saying, as Baba Siri Chand was saying, of the old patterns that are not appropriate. And in the Hebrew path, there's a beautiful ceremony called tashlich, where you go to a stream, some form of living water, the ocean or whatever one can come up with, and throw either breadcrumbs or pebbles into the water, one for each quality or pattern or addiction or whatever it might be, to let the waters take it to the ocean and recycle it. Or if it's breadcrumbs, then the birds or the fish get to eat it. So it's right. And the thing that's so amazing to me is that because the Hebrew calendar is so ancient and it's really wired to nature, it seems to me a wonderful time of year to reboot, so that as we go into the winter time, we can incubate the new seeds of our life, and then in the spring come forward with the new harvest.
Mhm. Mhm. Good. Well, thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you, and to all.
God bless you, dear.
You too.
Thank you. And who else can share? *6? *6? Padam Dion, can you share? *6? Okay.
This is Kaur.m4v.
Oh,
you
good.
just ask. Hi, how are you? She
Good.
said, can you share? Because I always share, right?
That's right.
It was interesting because for me to take the trip, I had to leave Monday night and travel from one country to another to take the flight, and then I was picked up and just got here to my friend's home, and it's beautiful, it's very green, it's very inviting to deepen, but I haven't had much sleep, more than 20 minutes here and 20 minutes there while traveling. And so when I was going into the meditation or the guidance to, do the heart breath, I didn't know if I could stay in my body for a while. It's very intense. But I do want to share one little story. Yesterday, right before getting on the flight from Buenos Aires to Newark, I started to feel, I was sitting in the corner, already checked in, and more people started to come. And all of a sudden, I felt really crowded energetically. I started to feel the angst and the impatience and the anger, and even felt some like ickiness on the skin. And I could just tell there were about 200 people surrounding me, and I'm not usually claustrophobic or shy, but I could just feel it was energetic, and I started to really do the heart breath. And I went with it. I said, let's make it pink, and I was just expanding it, and then it was after about 5 minutes, it completely shifted. And good thing I kept doing it while we were in the plane the first hour or so, because there was so much turbulence that they kept asking the flight attendants to sit down. They couldn't even serve water or anything. Mm-hmm. And I kept doing it, and it was very interesting. Right next to me was a first-time flyer, and she was freaking out, and I just kept doing it. I could really feel the energy just kind of pouring and pouring and pouring. Mm-hmm. And of course, the plane made it fine. Otherwise, I wouldn't be speaking here. But it was an interesting experience, because I just kind of heard do the heart breath, and it just shifted the whole experience for me. I'm sure it shifted for people around me, but I have no evidence of that. I can only speak for myself. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to share that. And as far as the forgiveness thing, that's kind of what I've been hearing. Is like, just instead of doing it, nitpicking and pick one thing to forgive, one for another, and just forgive myself, let go, and just really like a new start. Let it all go. Mm-hmm. Don't look back anymore. Don't look back. Just start fresh. Just forgive and let go. Forgive and let go, and it's right on time. But I have to admit that I couldn't. I was gone during the breathing here. I had witnesses. I almost fell off the chair because I was so, I was so gone. So yeah, definitely the heart breath was saving me last night, because that anxiety, to be surrounded with people for so many hours, is 11-hour flight, and so much anxiety and so much pushing, and the space in airplanes is getting smaller between people. It was really a test, it was really a test to be able to be present. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big one, especially when we're not used to that, being so crowded in, and so being so. And if you're sensitive, you feel everything. Yeah. So, thank you very much for that wonderful tip. We're going to call it. It works. Good. So, who else can share? Star 6.
Again, it's Suzanne.
Oh, hi, Suzanne.
Hi. I just want to say I'm so grateful that you have given us this time where we could really have gone slowly and absorbed these ideas and put to practice heart breath, because just as we meditated today on Syria and the Mideast, it's so important to go beyond fear, and it's a great tool.
Wonderful.
Right, and we need to share it, and it's so beautiful that some of us know it and we can share it.
Wonderful. And do you have some experiences of heart breath that you would like to share?
I'm right with the last lady. It was a plane. It was
a plane. Okay.
Yes, and I was so grateful to have a tool, something that could bring comfort, not just for me, but for anybody who needed it. And,
were you in turbulence as well?
Yeah, just very, everyone has to sit down in that situation. But even on calm, beautiful days, and being grateful for the peaceful surroundings, or just personal meditation, I'm very grateful for it. I understand the depth of it. Maybe that's a better way to say it. Not
you
just
understand what? I didn't hear that.
The depth of the healing power of the heart breath. Whether it's a calm day or not a calm day, it's a beautiful tool to have.
That's right. And
understand. Yeah.
Good. You've had that experience.
Yeah, I think so.
Well, we know so.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. That's
Thank you.
really lovely. I appreciate it, Susie. Okay. So I was going to call on Hargoben before. Is he still there? Star 6? Star 6, Hargoben, would you like to share? Are you on double mute? Okay. So is there someone else who would like to share?
I can share.
Good. Who is this?
This is Devi Kiran.
Oh, David Karen, you are here.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I'm here. I came on a little bit late, so.
Okay. Wonderful. And David Karen's the one in Sweden.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, dear.
I just wanted to share really short about today. I had a pretty rough day, and I've been beating myself up about not being a perfect human being, and
oh my God,
with all my faults and all the things that I do wrong, and those things happen sometimes. And so I was thinking, no, I'm not going to be on the Teletalk, and but then I decided to go on anyway, and because I got the feeling that you should be on the talk. You have to be on the talk. It's important. So I just, okay, I'm going to be on. So, I feel really happy about that because Baba Siri Chand brought me back to my heart, and I could really feel that, my pure essence, it is really love and peace and light, and, I just reconnected to my true being and my true nature, and I also forgave myself for beating myself up about not being perfect. So I thought that I can forgive other people for not being perfect, so why shouldn't I be able to forgive myself for not being perfect? And
exactly.
So that was nice. So,
oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
And Baba Siri Chand says, first of all, he's delighted that you're here and delighted that you made that turnaround. And he's saying, if you follow soul all the time, he said, you will not be perfect in the eyes of the rest of the world. You understand? Because
I do.
You may become unusual.
Yeah.
He says, listen, dear, here's his secret. He says, you are perfect.
Oh.
And he sends his love.
Oh, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, dear. Bless you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So we have about 2 more minutes. Is there someone else who would like to share?
Siri Gian?
Yes. Who is it? Oh, Rahmani?
It's Rahmani again. I just wanted to underline that the idea of pre-forgiveness, coming to a place of pre-forgiveness. I think that's such a beautiful concept. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, good. Thank you. Okay, so God bless you all. What a wonderful pleasure. Baba Siri Chand is asking us, he's putting us all in a great big circle with our arms around each other. He's going, Waheguru. He's so happy with everybody. Excuse me, of one heart. So with that, remember, we're all in this wonderful circle, hearts together, arms around each other. And inhale now. May the long time sunshine upon you, all around you, and the your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Inhale. And bow to your essence, to your holiness, to the beauty of who you are. Oh my God. God bless you all. Sat Nam.
God bless you. Aloha.
Aloha.